So now we have our projects and our solution. Let's go ahead and add our projects into our solution file. So I'm just going to go back into the .NET CLI command again. And this time we want to work with our solution file, and we can do that by using .NET SLN. And if I just take a look at the contextual help for what we can do with our solution file, we have three commands to work with here: add, list, and remove. And add would allow us to add our projects into a solution file. And that's the one we'll use. So what I'll do is I'll say .NET SLN add. And what we need to add here is the reference to our CS proj file in each of our projects. But we don't need to specify the full path here. What I can do is start typing domain, then just press tab. And this will go ahead and take a look inside our domain folder for a CS proj file, and if it finds one, it'll add our project to the solution. So I can just press return, and this goes ahead and adds our domain project to the solution. And I just need to do the same for our application project, do the same for our persistence project, and also do the same for our API project. And if I do a .NET SLN list, then I'll see the four different projects now inside this solution file. What we also need to do is let each project know what its dependencies are, and we can do that by adding references to our projects. Now, our domain project is going to be the center of our application universe, and it will have no dependencies on any other projects. But our application project is going to need a dependency on both the domain project, and it will also need a dependency on the persistence project. So let's go and add those two references first of all. And to do this, we're going to need to cd into the application project. And then what we can do is say .NET add reference, and we need to go up first of all to the domain project. And again, this uses the CS proj file to add the reference to it. But we can just specify the domain and then press return. And we add our domain reference to the application project. Now we also need to add a reference to the persistence project, as our application is going to be responsible for querying the database and handling our business logic. So our application will also need a reference to persistence. So I'm going to say .NET add reference and go up and specify persistence. And that's now been added to the project. Now our API project is going to need a reference to the application project. And because our application project has a reference to the domain project, our API project is going to have a transitive dependency on the domain. So we only need to specify the application as a reference to our API project. So I'm just going to go up a level. So I'm just going to cd ... and then cd into our API project. And I'm going to add a reference. So .NET add reference. And this time we need to go up to our application project. And that's that reference added there. Now we need to add one more reference as well, because our persistence project is going to need to have a dependency on the domain project, because our domain is going to have the entities that our persistence project is going to need to work with. So what we'll also need to do is just go up a level again and then go into our persistence project. And what I'm going to do here is say .NET add reference and just go up and specify domain and press return. And now our persistence project is going to have a dependency on the domain. So I'm just going to go back up a level. And what we can do now is open our projects inside VS Code. So I'm just going to type in code at the reactivities level. So make sure that this is the folder that we're going to be opening inside VS Code here. And just type in code followed by a period. And this is going to open up all of my projects inside VS Code. And what you should see is you'll have a pop-up saying that there's required assets to build and debug are missing from reactivities. Do we want to add them? and we're going to say yes to this, because this is going to add a folder in here called .vscode, and this provides some JSON files that assist with launching and debugging our application. We're not going to worry about what's in them right now, but we will need what's going on in here a bit later on. And what we'll take a look at next is running our application and then taking a look at what's inside these particular projects.